of Prussia's most renowned generals, Gebhard Leberecht von Blücher, was born into a noble family of military background on the 21st of December, 1742, in the German port city of Rostock. His father was a retired army captain, and his mother was heir to a long line of northern German nobles. His military career began in 1758 when, at the age of 16, he joined the Swedish army as a hussar. At that time, Sweden was embroiled in the 7-Year War with Prussia, and he soon saw action. Now, during the Pomeranian campaign of 1760, he was captured in a skirmish, and rather than imprisoning him, Prussian officer Wilhelm Sebastian von Belling, who was a distant relative of the young Blücher, saw great promise and asked him to join his own regiment. Now part of the Prussian army, Blücher spent the remainder of the war as a cavalry officer, learning battlefield tactics and how to lead troops. Blücher took part in the later battles of the 7-Year War, and as a hussar officer, gained much experience in light cavalry work. Unfortunately, Blücher was not made for peacetime military service, and his ardent spirit led him to excesses that would get him into trouble. In 1772, for example, he oversaw the mock execution of a priest who was suspected of supporting a Polish uprising. This led to him being turned down for a promotion from major, which caused the impetuous Blücher to pen a very rude letter of resignation to his superiors. When Frederick the Great heard of this, he forced Blücher's hand, removing him from the army and vowing that the young officer would never be eligible to lead men in battle again. Blücher, resigned to his fate, settled down as a gentleman farmer, building his fortune and waiting for the monarch to die. And in 1786 he got his wish when Frederick passed away. Blücher was not only reinstated into the army, but promoted to major in his old regiment. Over the next decade and a half, he performed well in battle, and he steadily rose up through the upper officer ranks, becoming a lieutenant general in 1801. Now, during this period, Prussia was embroiled in a lengthy series of wars with French forces under Napoleon. And in 1806, Blücher was leading the Prussian cavalry at the Battle of Jena-Auerstedt, and despite his valiant efforts, the Prussians were badly beaten and forced to retreat. This retreat was eventually blocked by the French, and after heavy losses, Blücher was forced to surrender. Now, true to his fiery form, Blücher insisted that the surrender be worded to indicate that the Prussians did so, not because they were beaten on the field of battle, but because they ran short of supplies. And he further insisted that his troops be honored by the French victors. These conditions were granted, and the now imprisoned Prussian general was free to move about as he pleased. He was soon exchanged for a number of French officers, and he spent the remainder of the war in Berlin or Königsberg. After the war, he began to enter the political sphere, but ever the firebrand, he was soon banished from this position for speaking too frankly about his Austrian and Russian allies. Luckily for Blücher, war broke out again between Prussia and France in 1813, and the 71-year-old once more entered military service. Wishing to see Germany permanently free from foreign influence, Blücher became commanding general of all of the Prussian field forces, clashing with his old foe Napoleon at Lutzen, Bautzen, Katzbach, and finally Leipzig. Known for his fiery personality, he was nicknamed Marshal Vorwärts, that means Marshal Forward, by his soldiers because of his aggressive approach in warfare. Now, while Napoleon found Blücher to be unimaginative and short-sighted, he did admire the Prussians' sheer tenacity. And despite being routed on the battlefield, Blücher would stand up again and prepare for another round. Like Napoleon, Blücher's Prussian way of war was to make contact with the enemy as quickly as possible, concentrate all forces to deliver a decisive blow, and end the fight quickly. Now, with Napoleon's armies retreating after the defeat at Leipzig, it was Blücher who organized the Allied forces to chase the French back to Paris. And while Blücher was eventually successful, the back-and-forth nature of the advance had led to a great deal of mental strain on the Marshal. During the winter of 1814, he suffered a psychological breakdown, and at one point he lost his eyesight and believed that a Frenchman had impregnated him with an elephant. Blücher was able to eventually recover and was soon pushing his army once again towards the City of Lights. And while Blücher advocated punishing the city, cooler heads like the Duke of Wellington prevailed from saving Paris from the petulant Prussian. After the war, Blücher paid a visit to England, then prepared for a quiet retirement back in Silesia. However, with Napoleon's escape from Elba, Europe again girded itself for war, and Blücher again found himself leading a fight against the bellicose French emperor. Where most men were already well settled into their autumn years, Blücher once more led a force into battle. And at the Battle of Ligny on June 16th of 1815, the Prussians were handed a serious defeat, and Blücher's horse was shot out from under him, and he was trapped on the battlefield, being trampled on several times by an oblivious French cavalry. Now, he would have probably been captured if it was not for the quick thinking of his aide-de-camp, Count Nostitz, who threw a greatcoat over his commander to obscure the marshal's rank and identity from the passing French. Now, while the injured Blucher was incapacitated for a brief period of time, he bathed his wounds in a liniment of rhubarb and garlic, and he fortified himself with a liberal internal dose of schnapps. Revived, the marshal then rejoined his army. On the 18th, he whipped his forces forward to Waterloo, finally arriving in the late afternoon. And as they arrived at the battlefield, several soldiers attested to Blucher's high spirits and his determination to defeat Napoleon. Forwards, he was quoted as saying, "I hear you say it's impossible, but it has to be done. I have given my promise to Wellington, and you surely don't want me to break it. Push yourselves, my children, and we'll have victory." It's impossible not to like Blücher. He was 74 years old, still in pain and discomfort from his adventures at Ligny, still stinking of schnapps and of rhubarb liniment, yet he was all enthusiasm and energy. Now, Blücher's intervention was the force needed to draw off Napoleon's reserves and turn the tide of the battle. And Blücher energetically followed up on the victory by pushing his exhausted troops forward to crush the routed French army. As he'd done half a decade before, he made a brief visit to London, and looking down on the great city from a hilltop, he was reported to wryly exclaim, "What a city to sack." He then made the trip back to his estate in Silesia, where he now hoped to permanently retire. Blücher died in September of 1819 at the age of 76, and he was interred in a stately mausoleum. Unfortunately, his remains were disinterred by Red Army forces in 1945, and at this time it was reported that they used his skull as a soccer ball. However, some of his remains were discovered and reinterred in 1989. So this is Waterloo, and it was designed by Lindsley Schutz and Thomas N. Shaw, and it was published by the Avalon Hill Game Company in 1962. It's one of the early ones. Now, the map board shows the theater of operations where the battles of Quatre Bras, Ligny, and Waterloo were fought on the 16th through the 18th of June in 1815. And terrain includes roads, which are these double solid lines for primary and double dashed lines for secondary roads. The blue lines are rivers. Now, the green areas are woods, and those can either be wholly or partially wooded. There are slopes, and those are any hex containing the brown splash contours. And the thickest part of the splash contours indicates the high side of the slope. There's hilltops, and any hex adjacent to the high side of a slope hex is considered a hilltop, and hilltops do not contain the splash contours. Now, terrain has effects on movement and combat, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. And only those hexes showing in entirety all 6 hex sides are playable, and you can't play on the half hexes. The blue unit counters represent the French units, the green counters represent the Prussians, and the red counters represent the Anglo-Allied units. And there's printed information which includes the combat factor, which is the basic fighting strength when you attack or defend, and a movement factor, which is the maximum number of hexes a unit can move in one turn. To prepare for play, the French player places their units on the board in the positions that are outlined on the situation card. And after the French players completed the unit placement, then the Alliance player places their units on the board in the positions that are outlined on their situation card. Like a lot of these early games, the sequence of play is fairly straightforward and simple. There's a French phase, and the French player moves any and all of their units, and then any combat that's caused by the French movement is resolved. This is followed by an Alliance phase, where the Alliance player does 3 things. They check the order of appearance card for possible arrival of additional units. They can then move any and all of their units. And finally, all combat that's caused by an Alliance movement is resolved. You then check 1 2-hour period off the time record chart and go to the next turn. Now, each turn represents 2 hours, and there's a maximum of 30 turns in the game. Now, the Alliance player can win the game by either eliminating all the French combat units or avoiding the French condition of victory by the end of the time limit of the game. Now, the French player simply wins by eliminating all the Alliance units. And they can do this in one of 2 ways. They can eliminate through ordinary combat, or they can eliminate through enemy defections. So for every French combat unit that the French player can move off the map board towards Brussels, the Alliance player has to arbitrarily remove a combat unit from the game. And these units have twice the combat factor of the French unit. And this arbitrary removal is done at the end of the French player's turn by the Alliance player, who can select any units from anywhere on the board for removal. And units from removal can also be selected from your reserve units that haven't arrived on the board yet. Now, it's important that when the French units move off the board, they can't be brought back into play for the remainder of the game. And movement off the board by the French player can only be done along the board edge hexes between the two roads, inclusive, that are due north of Mount St. Jean. Now, movement's pretty straightforward for these early Avalon Hill games. In their turn, a player can move any and all of their units in play up to their maximum movement factor. And these pieces can be moved in any direction or combination of directions. And while the players are free to move units through other stacks of units, there's a limit of 15 combat factors of friendly units that can be stacked in a hex at the end of a movement. Also note that Prussian units can be stacked with Anglo-Allied units. A couple of brief notes on movement and terrain. In the case of roads, any unit on a primary road is allowed to move 4 additional hexes that turn on that road. For example, a unit which has a movement factor of 4 hexes reaches a road hex on its 4th move. It could then move up to 4 more hexes along that road immediately in the same turn. Or suppose you have the same unit that reached the road in 2 hexes, then this unit could move along the road up to 4 hexes and move 2 more squares off the road. Now, a unit's not allowed to apply this bonus movement to more than 1 road per turn. Also, a unit can't leave a road after taking part of its movement bonus and then return to the road for the remainder of the movement bonus. Now, in regard to these secondary roads, there's no movement bonus. Now, rivers function to stop movement, and all units have to stop when they land on river hexes unless they tend to move up or downstream along the river without crossing it. And now, when they intend to cross, they have to stop, and they can't move off the river until their next turn. Now, units can still stop on wooded hexes, even if the forest is on the opposite bank of the river. And units that land on a river's hex of a different river immediately after leaving one have to stop again. Also, there's no movement delay when crossing rivers on primary and secondary roads. It's considered that there's a bridge in that hex. Now, when units move into a wood hex, they have to stop, and they can't proceed any further until the next turn. And all units move through the woods at a rate of 1 hex per turn, but they can leave these woods at their normal movement rate. And there's no movement delay when traveling through woods on primary or secondary roads. However, the road hex must be entered from the hex side containing the road to negate the effects of the woods. Now, slopes, hilltops, and cities don't delay movement in any way. In fact, cities are treated as continuous of the roads going through them. And as such, you can cross, say, the river Charleroi without delay. In regards to combat, a player automatically instigates an attack when they move a unit into a hex unit's zone of control. That is the 6 hexes adjacent to the defending unit. And the phasing player has to cease movement, and they're locked into combat during that combat phase of that turn. Now, the attacker can move as many units into enemy zones of control as they're able to before resolving combat, and all units which move into these zones of control have to attack some enemy unit, and all defending units in the enemy zone of control have to be attacked by at least 1 enemy unit. Now, attacking units can begin their movement and leave a zone of control of an enemy, but they can't move from the zone of control of one enemy unit into the zone of control of another enemy unit without first moving into an uncontrolled hex. Now, the one exception to this would be advance after combat, which we'll talk about. Also, an attacking unit's not allowed to withdraw from an enemy unit's zone of control and then re-enter that enemy unit's zone in the same turn. And during combat phase, the attacker resolves all attacks in any order that they choose. And to determine the battle odds, the attacker's combat factor is stated first. The total combat factors of the attacking units then compared to the total combat factors of defending units. You round down in favor of the defender, and then you roll a dice, and you consult the CRT. Now, terrain can alter the combat factor of units. If an attacker's attacking from a river hex, they attack at half strength if all of the units attacking are across that river. And defending units double their defense strength if they're defending from the top of a slope. There's several different combat results. There's an ALM, which means that the attacking units are completely destroyed and are removed from the board. A DLM is the same thing, except it applies to the defending units. There's a back 2, in which all losing units must retreat 2 hexes in any direction or combination of directions that are determined by the winner. But the winner can't force losing units into blocking zones of control or terrain if an alternate, unblocked route of retreat is available. Now, if a unit is forced to retreat into an enemy-controlled zone, it's eliminated. The same thing happens if a unit's forced to retreat off the map, or it's forced to retreat onto or across a river. In this game, units are also allowed to retreat through friendly units, even if they're stacked. However, if the possible retreat route results in an overstacking, then the excess over the stacking limitation has to be eliminated. Also, if the first hex in a retreat is a woods hex, then the retreating unit is eliminated, unless the wood hex contains a road, and if the path of retreat is through the hex side that the road intersects, and that the entire retreat continues down that road. When an exchange is rolled, the player with the fewest combat factors removes all of their units, and then the other player removes a number of units whose combat factor total is at least that of the units removed by their opponent. And since this exchange of combat factors doesn't always work out even, a player sometimes has to remove a number of units whose total combat factors are more than that of the units that were removed by the opponent. Now, unlike most other Avalon Hill games, odds worse than 1 to 6 are legal, though they automatically result in an A elim. Now, when 2 or more units attack one defending unit, the factors of the attacking units are totaled into one combined attack factor. And when one unit attacks 2 or more defending units, then the factors of the defending units are totaled into one combined defense factor. So when several attack units are attacking several defending units, the attacker has a choice of dividing combat into more than one battle as long as the following conditions are met. First, they have to fight every defending unit in whose controlled zone that they're attacking from, and every unit moved into an enemy zone of control has to attack at least one adjacent enemy unit. Now, the attacker can deliberately sacrifice one or more attacking units at very unfavorable odds in order to gain more favorable odds over other defending units. So basically, they do what's called soaking off. And no attacking unit can fight more than one battle per turn, even if it finds itself adjacent to the enemy after combat's been resolved. Now, after the combat's over, a unit can advance, and a unit that defeats an enemy unit while attacking from a river hex is allowed to move on to the defeated unit's vacated hex immediately after combat. Also, a unit that defeats any enemy unit on top of a hill while attacking from a slope hex is allowed to move into that vacated hilltop hex. And zones of control have no effect on advance after combat. This is the only case where a unit can move directly through an enemy's zone of control, and in the case of exchanges, the surviving units are allowed to move into a vacated hex. Now, in the real Battle of Waterloo, the Alliance troops were arriving for several days after June 16th, and in this game, the Alliance player introduces units accordingly. So you check the order of appearance card, and that states the area and time of arrival of new units that are brought into play. Now, incoming units are always placed on the board at the beginning of the Alliance player's turn, and the Alliance player brings out these units scheduled to arrive in the turn in one pile, one on top of the other, on the partial hex on the edge of the board. Now, incoming units cannot be placed on the board directly into enemy zones of control, and if an enemy zone prevents the Alliance player from bringing in any or all of the scheduled units, then the units have to be brought in on the next unblocked primary or secondary road, working clockwise around the board. Now, the Alliance units don't have to be brought in on the scheduled turn. They can be brought in on a later turn if the Alliance player wishes. So basically, the Alliance player can purposely delay unit arrival. Now, like a lot of the early Avalon Hill games, you're given a lot of headquarters units, and like a lot of early Avalon Hill games, these headquarters units mean nothing. In effect, headquarters units are just included for historical purposes only, and they have no bearing on play of the game, as they don't have a zone of control, and they can't be used to delay an enemy. Okay, this is Waterloo. I've got it pretty much set up here. I did go ahead and take all those headquarters units out. There's an awful lot of them, and they kind of just get in the way. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Now, we've got the French down here, and the Prussians here, and then the Allies up here. I think that's all there is for Allies. Allies are fairly spread out, so what we're going to have to do is kind of have a defensive battle with them. It's pretty hard for the Allies to win this one. I think usually Napoleon makes pretty short work of them. Although with this CRT, things can change pretty quickly. Now I got to remember this is our CRT, or that's the terrain effects chart. Here's the CRT, and we've got the timeline here. I better get a little unit for that. Where's our time? There it is, game turn unit right there. Okay, so first turn, the French get to go first, and so we'll move them into place. Now they can go one. We'll just start with Napoleon's units here. 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then 6 and 6. We'll move all these cavalry units into place. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. 4, and just move these guys right up the line here. They're just heading down the road, and then this guy can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now he's on a road, so he can go another 4, and then we'll just move this guy here, excuse me. Oh, that's the wrong one. And then down here, these guys at Marchienne au Pont, they have to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now these are secondary roads, so they can only move 1 hex per turn on those. And that ends the first turn for the French. So now then we'll move our Prussians first here. And I think what we'll do... Now, I'm not sure, do woods provide any cover? That's a question. Woods have no effect on combat, so those aren't going to help us any. The only thing that can really help us are these heights here. So we're going to go 1... Actually, I need to get across the stream somehow. 3, 4, 5, 6. What I'm going to do is move here and maybe I can see if I can hold these guys off. Then let's move these guys into position here. We'll move this guy here. I've got to kind of get these units somewhat. Actually, let's put the 6 in the center. So I've got 6 here, and then 4 here, and so we need 3 and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll move him in here, and then I think we'll move this guy here and this guy here. I think he can move. Yeah, he can move that far. Okay. I'll move him here with 15. And we are just going to stay on the river here. With 12. Okay. Okay, that should try to keep, we're going to try to keep Napoleon bottled up there. And that, I think, is the end of the Allied turn. So we'll go to our turn chart. Here, there it is. And now we're at 9 a.m. on the 16th. So we can, let's go ahead and bring in the these guys. And they're on the road to Brussels. So we'll put them up here. And let's zoom in a little bit. We're a little far out, so don't think we need that there. That's better. You guys can probably see a little better. I always forget that it looks a lot smaller on a on you guys' screen on a YouTube video. But okay, the French can now move, and we are just going to move here now. This guy, he's fighting across a bridge. Now, I'm not sure. Let's see what the bridge entails. Doesn't really say. I think movement stops when entering. Defending is doubled when attacking across. I am going to say that they can attack normally across the bridge. But we'll just have... I guess, well, he's not really on the same... I guess we'll call it he's crossing the bridge. So we'll do that. We're going to just try to strong arm our way through. Here, one, two, three, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He has to stop there. Okay, and we're going to try to roll down the line there. And then 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll move those guys in place there. Now, hopefully that looks good. Okay, and Oh, and then these guys down. I always forget these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. And okay. That looks better. Okay, let's start with here. And we've got 3 here. And then there's 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 18 to 3. Now that's actually a 6, so it's going to be 3 to 1 odds. And we'll go to a CRT. And we roll a 3. 3 to 1 with a 3 is a defender back 2. So we'll move 1, 2. Now the rules technically say that you can only move into, you can only advance after attack if it's an exchange. I think I looked through the rules and that's the only thing I can find. I'm going to go ahead and say they can advance after attack. Everything pretty much standard Avalon Hill wargaming rules allow that, so I'm going to stick with that, making the assumption that's what they wanted. I guess you could argue it either way. I usually kind of try to stick with kind of a standard set of rules. Every war game has slight variabilities in it, and that's 18, 24 to 6, so 4 to 1 odds. We roll a 4. 4 to 1 at 4 is a defender back 2, so we will move back 1, 2, and this guy gets to cross the stream. Okay, right here we have a 5, 10, 15 to 24. 1 to 2 odds. We should probably not have moved into that hex. This CRT is deadly. And you really want to only attack when you've got anything really better than 2 to 1 or better. Because you'll notice with 1 to 1, even 1/3 of the time you have an attacker eliminated. But it's deadly, deadly. Okay, enough of my yammering. We roll a 5 at 1 to 2, and that is an attacker eliminated. So see, the French automatically lost those guys. Okay, here we've got a 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 to 28. So 1 to 2. And we roll a 1 to 2 with a 6. And again, Napoleon made a bonehead move. Okay, and then here I've got a 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 to 6, 12, 14, and 15 is 29. Let's see, that would be 58. So 15 to 58 is a 1 to 4? Yeah. Not good. 6. Okay, and that's an attacker eliminated. So Napoleon just lost his army. That was, yeah, I should have, getting across the river. Of course, this, I guess, was pretty representative of the real battle, because all this fighting at Lenny to try to get across the Lenny River. I was thinking, what's the name of the river? It's the Lenny River. Okay, that is the French turn. The Allies can go. We'll start up here, because I can remember these guys. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 9, 10, 15. This guy could go 2 more. And then this guy's going to have to sit back a little. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could go over here. I think what I'm going to do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to try to come to these guys' aid. I can come here and then can't really make it around. There's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 4, and 1, 15. And then this guy will move into place here. I'm still 4 long, so we'll just hold off here. That's fine. Okay, right here we have a 3, 2, 3, 1-to-1 odds. Is he in forest or not? I guess forests don't count for, woods don't count for anything except movement. So 1-to-1 odds. We roll a 5 at 1-to-1, and it's an attacker eliminated. I'm not sure. I guess Blitzkrieg was when Avalon Hill really started to fine-tune their combat results table to be something that could end up with a fun game. 15, and I think this is 5, so that's 32, 15. So 2-to-1 odds. And we roll a 2. 2-to-1 at 2. And that's an exchange. So we lose 15 and 15. So the French actually blew it this turn, the second turn of the game. I'm going to get rid of these ones. Getting rid of these is probably one of the first things. And artillery doesn't really make a big difference in this game. I guess I could keep the strength points of cav, but I'm not going to. Like I said, I guess you could also say that this would help in exchanges, but I'm going to go 5, and then we'll go 10, and we'll save one more. 15. There we go. Okay, let me make sure I get this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 6 is 15. Okay, that's fine. And that'll work. Yeah, the map board gets pretty thin pretty quickly. Here I could have moved across the river. I didn't, so I'll just stick with that. Okay, that's the end of turn. We go to turn, the 11 o'clock turn, and we check here, and this is the road to Braine-le-Comte. Or is it Brunei or Braine? It's probably Brunei. It's right here. Okay, we've got the problem of, we've kind of lost it down here south of Quatre Bras, so 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to run away. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll go there instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that works. Okay. Well, that's not what I wanted. They kind of follow a little bit of non-standard notation in this Vassal module, so it's kind of, I'm always trying to get rid of those lines. Okay, this gets a little trickier. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the only combat's going to be here, and that's going to be a 14, and 12 is 26, 36, and 41 to 3. Okay, 6 to 1. Let's pull this up, and we roll a 5, and that's a defender eliminated. Okay. We'll move in, take advantage of that. And now the The Allies can go. I'll stay on this side of the river. And we'll go... One, two, three... Okay, and then 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Here, I'm going to redistribute my guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And we're going to try to keep the heights. And then the Allies are going to attack here. Oh, I forgot my guys coming in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I can, these guys stack. Let's make sure I got 15 stacked here. I'll get rid of this guy. 4, 6, 7, 8. Oh, the whole stack is 15. Okay. And then coming down from the north, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's on a road, so we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this guy goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And he's following. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, we got one combat over here, and that's a 14. And since this guy's on the river, one guy's on the river, side of the river, so that Napoleon's troops don't get the bonus. So he had 14, and 12 is 26 to 15. So 1-to-1 odds. We roll a 6. That's an attacker eliminated. Yeah, 1-to-1. So. Like you say, these guys just totally destroy themselves. It's insane. Okay, that's end turn. So we're going to go to our turn marker. And we go to the 1 p.m. turn. So the Allies get another guy. And he comes from Brussels, down from the north. There he is. And... Napoleon's troops can go. So we're going to go 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And then I'm going to stay right here. I don't know what this is. Look right here. I'm not sure if that's a road. They did that occasionally with the maps. Kriegspiel, or Blitz, yeah, Kriegspiel was the one that had the crazy maps. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, that actually puts Napoleon at an advantage here. I think we're going to try to move through this gap here at Quatre Bras on that road. I forget what that highway is called. And hopefully, like I say, if we can get up here, cut them off before Blucher brings in units, we can win this. That's the question, is once Blucher brings in units, it gets a little harder, but... Okay, we've got 6 and 4 is 10, 14, and 15 is 29 to 14. So 2-to-1 odds. We roll a 4. 2-to-1 with a 4 is going to be an attacker back 2. Not a big deal. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and I'm going to say he can move in. I'm going to let him do that. Okay. Now the Allies are going to go. I will start with, I'm going to start with my guys out here, so I don't forget them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he can stack. Okay, these guys are going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And he's going to follow. And then these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So yeah, he can do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I guess you could argue whether he could cross. I'm going to say that's not half, so we're good with that. And I'm going to pull here. Protect the flank. The point that Napoleon can really win this is if they start pulling units off up here on these roads, they remove, for every strength point you remove that Napoleon removes from the map board, the Allies lose 2, and you can take the Allies out pretty quickly that way. It's pretty much game over at that point. Okay, got a 15 and a 14. So we've got 29 to 14, 2-to-1 odds. We roll and get a 1. So that's a defender eliminated. So Napoleon loses out there. And that's the end of turn. Go to our turn marker. It's 3 p.m. No reinforcements. The French get to go. I don't think I have any more cavalry left. I think I've lost most of my cavalry units. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here, and then I'm going to do a sacrifice here. Okay, we'll hold off there, because I think what I'm going to try to do is not attack these guys until I can get behind them. Okay, we'll start with these. 5, 10, 15. 5, 10, 15, so that's 30 to 14. Okay, I think we're going to try to... We'll go do these 2 and then these 3. These 2 against this one and then these 3 against this one. Well, yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so we've got 45 to 14, 3-to-1 odds. And I roll a 6. 3-to-1 with a 6 is a defender eliminated, so I think this die rolls 6s a lot. Okay, 12 and 12 is 24 to 15, 1-to-1 odds. I get a 3, and 1-to-1 with a 3 is a defender back 2. So 1, 2. I think you can move through. You just can't stop. I will move into place to hold him down, and I keep doing that. This is kind of hard to tell what that is. Okay. Now the allies can go. Gonna go 1, 2. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And then these guys will go 1, 2, 3. And I think I can reinforce down here. Let's see who's got the lowest. 6, 6, 9. So we'll just reinforce there. And then these guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll keep that cavalry unit together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we've got I think I'll attack 1 here, and then these 3 will attack. So I've got 5. And 15 is 20. And 15 is 35 to 12. So didn't get 3 to 1. We got 2 to 1 odds. And we roll. 2 to 1 with a 4 is going to be attacker back 2. So we'll go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, here we have a, and I will definitely move into place. 14 to 12. So 1 to 1 odds with a 1. 1 is a defender eliminated. Okay. I don't think I'm going to stick to that guy. I think we'll just stay free. Okay, end of turn. It's now 5 p.m. on the 16th. And this comes the road to hell. The road to hell. Comes in way up here. Okay. French can go. There, we can eliminate this guy. And I think I will stay here because I can block the road. I don't think this guy, he'd have to move into this hex, and he can't move anymore at that point. So he's only hex he can move into is this one if he wants a fight. Okay, any other? Nope. No other French units. Yeah, I've lost about most of my French units are disappearing rapidly. Okay, actually, that guy could have gone here, but it would have let me be surrounded. So we'll just keep him to do it. There is some strategy to this game, which is kind of good. It's a step up from definitely a step up from what am I saying? Gettysburg. 30, 45 to 14. So 3 to 1 odds. We roll a 5. 3 to 1 with a 5 is an exchange. Okay. So 14. I think we're going to end up losing 15. Yeah. Okay. The French lose 15. We will eliminate them and eliminate them. Well, the Allies really can't stand to lose it, so it's going to hurt them worse. But actually, I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 6 piles of French. This could be interesting. Okay, now the Allies can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. Okay. And we will stay put here on the heights. And here we have a 15, 30 to 12. So 2 to 1. With a 4. 2 to 1 with a 4 is an attacker back 2. And that ends the turn. So we go to our turn marker. Okay, it's now June 17th. Dawn is breaking at 7 a.m. And the road to Braine-le-Comte is here. Let's close out these guys. The French get to go again. Can't move. We're still stuck right here, but we can try. There we go. We'll move forward 1. That's going to help. And then we've got 15, 30, 42 to 5. So that's 8 to 1 odds. Let's pull up our odds chart. And a 1, 6 to 1 with a 1, so defender eliminated. I will not move into this hex. Yeah, we will. Yeah, we'll move this guy into that hex. Okay, now the we are going to make Napoleon pay dearly. Any guys from the north? No. Oh, I forgot to move these guys. They did not move, and I think that's 15. Yeah, they lost a turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think they're all cavalry. Yep. I wish they would have done something with those headquarters units. That's always been a pet peeve of mine with these games. 2, 3, 4. There we go. Okay. I'll stay on the defensive. And okay, this leaves Napoleon did his thing. The Allies did their thing. So we can go to our next turn. It's 9 a.m. And Napoleon will go. This is our place where we need to break through. Okay, so we're going to go. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to sacrifice this guy. So he's going to attack this stack. Then that will let these two guys attack this stack, and then, or no, these two guys will attack this stack, and then these two guys will attack this stack, and then I can try to work my way around here. So we'll start with the low one here, and this is a 5-2. $5 to 15, 1 to 3 odds. So this will be our soaking off attack. Whoops. Okay, 1 to 3 with a 1. Well, that's attacker back 2. Now, okay, then these two are going to attack, or this guy's going to attack 10 to 3 odds. Hold on a second. Let's redo this. Okay, so we got 5, but these are going up a slope, so that's actually 5 to 30 or 1 to 6 odds, and I rolled a What did I roll? A 1? So it's attacker eliminated. So let's go ahead and get rid of this guy. Yeah, there. Okay, make that right. Okay, now then these guys are 10 to 3 or 3 to 1 odds. And we roll 3 to 1 with a 5 is an exchange. Okay, so these guys lost 3, but these guys will have to lose 5. I can move in here, which I'll do. Okay, then we have a 15 and a 12 is a 27 to 15, 1 to 1 with a 4. 1 to 1 with a 4 is an attacker back 2. Okay, well, that didn't work like we wanted it to. That's going to leave this guy pretty vulnerable. So now let's move our dudes 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I said, I like to start with the outliers. Did I get those guys? Yeah, I was looking for those guys down there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And okay. Now we're going to have one attack, and that's a 15, 30 to 5. So 6 to 1 odds. And we roll a 3. A 6 to 1 at 3 is a defender eliminated. So he is gone. Things look bad for Napoleon. Okay, we go to our next turn. Like I say, this is probably the first time I've ever had the Allies going to win this one. Usually Napoleon cleans up, but again, I've learned this definitely as the Allied player, you want to fight a defensive battle and slow him down because if you look here, here's on the 7 a.m. on the 18th, you get all these units coming in, so that kind of changes things up. Okay, Napoleon, I keep losing my thought here. I tell you, as I get older, I think I've got Alzheimer's or something. My gosh. Okay. And then we'll move him in here, and then I guess we're here. Okay, we'll start down here with a 15, 14, and 3. So that's a, 32 to 15? 32 to 15. 2 to 1 odds. And 2 to 1 with a 4. As an attacker back 2. Okay. Not what we wanted. Okay, and then a 15 and 14 is 29 to 15, 1 to 1 odds with a 3. And 1 to 1 with a 3 is a defender back 2. Okay, well, we got a breakthrough. Now, and we'll take advantage of that. Okay, now the Allies can go. Again, I'll start with the outer guys. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And 1, 2, 3. Oh, he can't go anywhere. 4. I guess he can go there. He's in the woods. Okay. No, I don't want to do that. Okay. And we are going to surround these guys. I think I'll start with these guys first. Let's see, I've got a 5, 10, 13, 18, 22 to 15. And then I'm going to add to these guys, I'm going to add 22 and 8. So this will give 2-to-1 odds, and then these guys will have to attack them. So we'll start with that 2-to-1 attack. And 2-to-1 with a 2 is an exchange. Okay, so 15, and then these guys lose 15. We'll just say 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whoops, well, this is going to get... If I could count, I want to make this as fast as I can. 5, 10, 4, 15. There we go. Eliminate. And eliminate. Okay, and then here I have 4, 5, 6, 7 to 14. 1 to 2 odds with a 6. So 1 to 2 with a 6 is an attacker eliminated. Okay. Then up here we have a 15 and 30 to 15, 2-to-1 odds. We roll a 4. 2-to-1 with a 4 is a attacker back 2. Okay. Now we go to the next turn. It's 1 p.m. on the 17th, so the road to hell up here. And let's go ahead with these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then maybe we can mop this up. Okay, so starting down here, we have a 3, 5, 10, 15, 17 to 10. So 1-to-1 odds. 1-to-1 with a 3 is a defender back 2. So can't go there, can't go there, can't go there, can't go there. So he is eliminated. And we'll move into position. Okay, and then here we have a 5, 10, 15, and 12 is 27 to 5. He's going down the slope, so 27 to 5 is 5-to-1 odds with a 3, and that's a defender eliminated. So we finally got the heights here taken care of. And so now we've got to push further back, but things could get interesting. Okay, now the allies can go. I think we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, wait. Oh, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, and then he can go 4, so he can go there and there. We'll then go 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 4, 1, 2. Okay, and then coming in up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, very slowly. And there's the end of turn. So let's move our turn marker ahead. It's 3 p.m. Okay, we've got to figure out what to do here. Probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so he can go across the river. Oh, but there's nothing there. Okay. And then 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Gonna go here. I'm gonna try to keep myself protected. 1, 2, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. There we go. And I'm gonna fight across the river here with a 15 to 15. 1 to 2 odds. I shouldn't have done that. Oh well. You live and learn. Actually, I don't. Attacker back 2. Well, that's probably the best thing I could get. Okay, now then these guys will go, and I'm going to move here, and I'm going to move here, and here. Okay. And, oh, and then these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and then we've got I've got to fight those guys. Okay. That's fine. That's a 15. And 9 is a 24 to 14 is a 1-to-1 odds. Don't roll anything bad. 1-to-1 with a 1. That's a defender eliminated, so we lucked out. Okay, the Allies did, and then this is an 8-2, and I can see he's on that side of the river. That's fine. One thing that made a huge improvement was making rivers run along hex sides. Thank you, Redmond Simonson. 15 to 15. Okay, 1-to-1 odds. And we roll a 5. 1-to-1 with a 5 is an attacker eliminated, so we did lose this guy. Oh, this guy should have fought here. Okay. Yeah, that's a mess up. That guy should have had to fight there to get those. We'll make him fight it. We'll just make him fight it just to make it fair. So 15 to 15, 1-to-1. Yeah, I didn't take that into account, so my error. 1-to-1 with a 5, so attacker eliminated. Yeah, we'll just go with that. That's the best thing to do. And I think it's the thing about learning about doing war games is what do you do when you screw up? I mean, you can either go back or you can make a rule as you go on. I mean, obviously it means a lot more in tournament play. But yeah, let me know down below if you're watching this and how you guys over the years have played. If something gets screwed up, do you usually do a take back, or do you usually change a rule to try to make it as fair as possible? I'd like to know how you guys do that. So, and we'll pull here. Wait, nope, we're not going to do. We got to move our turn marker. What am I saying? Okay. Like I said, the other thing that happens a lot when I'm doing these, I get to concentrating on stuff and I don't notice something else that's going on. My mind's kind of like, have you ever worked with Tinker Toys and you'd put something together and you'd get two pieces that would stick together and you'd put them together and then the other side they'd pop apart and then you'd go across and you'd do this, you'd try to fix the side that popped apart and another side would pop open. That's kind of how my brain works anymore. Okay, now then. It's 7 a.m. Let's go to our 7 a.m. or 5 p.m. Okay. It is 5 p.m. Take you back there. Okay. This guy's got to go to Hall. And the French get to go first. Now we can move the French. We'll go across. We'll go across. I'm going to do something weird here. I'm going to get right here and take a defensive position. Hopefully draw those guys off. Let's see what happens. Okay, now the it's now the Allies' chance to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not many units in this game. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think this is 15. Yeah. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, it's got one guy extra. Okay. Of course it does. And I think these guys will move. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. We're going to move here and here and here. Okay, now the Allies can go with a 2, 9, and 15 is 24 to 15, 1-to-1 odds. And we roll a 6. 1-to-1 with 6, attacker eliminated. So that eliminated these guys. And that's the end of turn. We go to our 7 a.m. on the 18th. It's now the 18th, and okay, we bring in, let's see, these guys go to anywhere on the eastern edge of the board north of the Linney River at the Prussian commander's option. So anywhere north of the Linney. Well, I think there's a road up here somewhere. I guess let's make it realistic. Let's just make them come in at Waterloo. Okay, the French get to go first, so they can go 1, and then they're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's the French move. And this is the race. Okay, now the 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And these crazy roads. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then bring in all these Prussian units. 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. 6, 12, 6, 12. 13, 13, 14. And 7. Okay, there is the end of turn. We'll move ahead 1. I guess there's no more reinforcements. And now the French get to go. 1. Did I set the thing? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then the Allies can go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he's going to be right behind. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oops. I guess these guys have 4. Yeah, I don't think I can even do much with that cavalry. Okay, that's the end of turn. We're racing off. This playing against another person would make this a lot better too. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this guy goes off. So we can remove 6 units. I'll just put those guys here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he's off, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's not. Okay, now we remove units. So we remove 4, 12, 15. We remove, that's times 2 is 30. So we'll say 2, 3, 8, 10, 17, 19, 24, 26, 27, 28, 20. That's, I've just got to move. 30. Let's try it again. 2, 3, 8, 10, 17, 19, 24. And then I got to remove 6 more. Well, we'll just do that. There we go. Make it easy on ourselves. Eliminate pile. Okay, and those guys are eliminated. And then these guys get to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we go ahead a turn. And then this guy gets to go off the board. And this time we take off 30 points. This is going to be interesting here. 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 16, 24, 30. Oh my gosh. That's wild. So that took off exactly 30 units. If I would have had one more unit, one more allied unit on the board, I would have been able to, the Allies would have won this game because these guys would be off the board. There's no more units out there, so that would meet the victory conditions for the Allies. Pretty close. Interesting game. I think it's got, I can see how people really liked this. It kind of plays out interestingly. A lot of times with the rules the way they are, it's just a turkey shoot for the French, and they're able to get up here and pretty much, I've had them take out Blucher's Prussian units without the Blucher and his units ever getting on the board. So kind of an interesting thing. Anyway, this is an oldie. I appreciate you guys watching. You guys seem to really like these old Avalon Hill games. I'll keep probably trying to do them as long as I can do them, as long as I can find ones to do. So I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.